it's coming in. Yeah.
You got audio?
Yeah. Welcome to Dominico Field. It's Thomas West and Ryan Eakin, and it's the Maple Leafs taking on the visiting Hamilton Cardinals, sitting at second last in the IBL, and the Maple Leafs trying to continue to climb, and they did just that with a huge win over a top-ranked team in the London Majors last time. What a thrilling 13-10 victory on the road.
Yeah, the pitching wasn't great, allowing 10 runs, but the offense was absolutely spectacular for the Maple Leafs. 8 runs in the fifth inning, and it was John Salazzo hit his second home run of the season, his second home run of the week, and Jordan Casaldo hit his sixth home run of the game. And how about Jose Vinicio hitting his first bomb in the IBL?
Yeah, Jose Vinicio has some pop, and people don't realize that because he submits to slapping the ball and just trying to get on base any way possible, but he saw his opportunity, had a couple guys on base, and torqued that 3-run home run to right field, and that's a big park out there in London, so he really got all of it. And what we think is going to be an opener role for Sam Green today, who's going to be the starting pitcher for the Toronto Maple Leafs, taking on this Hamilton Cardinals lineup. And it's Justin Gideon, who is one of the top hitters in the IBL right now, right up there in the average department, hits 7 home runs on the year as well. And you could almost say he'd be a Triple Crown candidate had he not been the leadoff hitter this entire season.
Yeah, and he hit a bomb at Chrissy Pitts in the last time he came up here, and he's one of those players, to me, a top 5 position player in the IBL and one of the most complete players in the league for sure.
Sam Green, the righty, delivers a strike 1, then swing and a miss, strike 2.
As for Sam Green, Maple Leafs manager Damon Topley, hoping for 1, maybe 2 innings from Green. This is a bullpen day. You're going to see 5, 6 relievers for the Maple Leafs to close out quite the busy week for the team. They played Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday, so it's been a busy week for the team.
Pitch goes to the backstop. It was in the dirt. Sam Green comes from McGill University, and he's a Philadelphia, Pennsylvania native. 24 years old, big guy too, 6'3", a good frame on the mound. Sam Green has 2 strikes on Justin Gideon, and a curveball way outside.
Green had a tough outing in his last outing on Wednesday at Chrissy Pitts against the Panthers, but prior to that, he's been great all season for the team. So no question, Lisa hoping for 2 clean innings from him to begin this ball game.
After getting ahead of Justin Gideon quickly, he gets him to pop one in the air. Wind could be a factor today. It's blowing straight in from the outfield, but right there is Connor Lewis in center field to make the catch, and there's one away.
It brings up David Ortiz, which without context would be quite the IBL moment, but not quite the David Ortiz that most baseball fans listening might know of.
All the context I think you need if you're confused.
Yes.
This is David Ortiz, the shortstop.
That says enough. That says enough.
David Ortiz playing in just his 4th game this season. A righty v righty matchup for Sam Green. Hitting .333 though on this young season. 12 at-bats, 4 hits. 2 of them doubles. Ortiz swings and misses, and that might have been a breaking ball there from Sam Green and dropped David Ortiz to 1 knee.
A nice addition to Hamilton's lineup last week. Needing a guy that can kind of be in that 2-hole after getting and get on base and perhaps see some damage from the top and the middle of the Hamilton lineup. And it's been a nice addition for sure this past week for Hamilton.
Oh, it's pretty cheap. It's like $2.50 for a small.
David Ortiz flies one to relatively shallow right field. Coming over and making the catch, and quickly 2 away for Sam Green in the first inning. And pitch count staying low. That's something that Damon Topley will be certainly happy about, although he's only through 2 batters so far.
The scoreboard isn't on it.
Sam Green will face the 3-hitter Tyler Duncan, hitting .304 this season in 22 games. It's been a regular in the lineup for the Hamilton Cardinals. First pitch is in there for strike 1. 92 at-bats, 28 hits, 4 doubles, 4 triples for Tyler Duncan, and 1 home run. Not a lot of guys you see in the IBL with 4 3-baggers. Pitch was fouled back. Now 2 strikes on Tyler Duncan. Tyler Duncan struck out 20 times in the 92 at-bats he's had this IBL season. Swinging, just getting a piece of that and fouling it straight to the backstop is Duncan. Toronto Maple Leafs are going with John Salazzo, Jose Vinicio, Adam Mara, and Jordan Castaldo. That's the infield left to right. Sam Green looks in, 2 strikes, and this one's torqued out there to center field. Going back is Connor Lewis, and reaching over his head. He can't make the catch. Is going to bang up against the wall. Connor Lewis gets it back in quickly as that ball just sailed over his head. And that is a stand-up double, and his 5th of the season for Tyler Duncan.
The score thing isn't on yet. Oh.
So that brings up the 4-hitter, Josh Niles, hitting .294 this season. Niles has a runner in scoring position and Duncan at second base. First pitch is in there for a strike from Green. Sam Green sporting a 7.44 ERA so far this season. This pitch is fouled straight back. As Ryan mentioned, he had that tough outing with 6 hits and 5 earned runs and 1 1/3 innings to Kitchener. That was 2 games ago. In the last home game here, that was part of a 14-12 loss to the Kitchener Panthers. That ended a 4-game losing streak for Kitchener. The Hamilton Cardinals trying to do the exact same thing here as they roll into this game versus Toronto, like Kitchener, with that 4-game losing streak. As there's a pitch over the inside corner, strike 3 called, and Sam Green gets out of that 2-out double situation. The bats for the Toronto Maple Leafs coming up. It's Toronto Maple Leafs baseball on YouTube. Jose Vinicio leads things off for the Maple Leafs, corked his first home run of his IBL career, and as a Toronto Maple Leafs last game against the London Majors, that was a 3-run shot. Jose Vinicio has done a great job of putting the ball in play this season and getting on base. First pitch is in there for a strike. Next pitch is over the outside corner. Now 1 ball and 2 strikes on Jose Vinicio. Just outside, 2-2. So Jose Vinicio strikes out, brings up Justin Mara. Mara has upped his batting average now to .307. Tied for 4th in the IBL with 6 home runs. Tied with his teammate Jordan Castaldo, who's on deck.
He hit a big bomb Wednesday against the Panthers here at Christie Pitts. And his bat's been really hot, really beginning against the Hamilton last month. So he's back to being the Justin Moore that Maple Leaf fans are used to.
Pitch in there for a strike. Once again, not the best day for hitting home runs. It's a relatively strong breeze coming straight from center field. Pitch from Duffy is over the outside corner, strike 2. Andrew Duffy delivers high. The Hamilton Cardinals are on a 4-game losing streak right now, and the last one had to sting a little bit. They delivered the first win of the season for the Brantford Red Sox. That was part of a 6-5 victory. Pitches in the dirt, check swing by Mara, and he didn't go around.
You know, every team in the league did not want to be the team that loses to Brantford, but it finally happened on Friday night. Hamilton had the tying run at third base, a go-ahead run at second base, the opportunity to give Brantford yet another loss, but Brantford picked up the W, and they were quite happy afterwards, to say the least.
Defense was a little bit of an issue for the Hamilton Cardinals, and we'll see if that continues into this game as this one's popped foul left side by Justin Mara. The Hamilton Cardinals made 3 errors, but most of them quite costly. 3 of the 6 runs that the Brantford Red Sox scored against Hamilton last game were unearned, which clearly had a massive factor in that game as it ended up being a 6-5 victory for Brantford, just a 1-run affair. This one's popped, and it's going to hook foul once again on the left side.
A great at-bat by Justin Mara, doing lots of favors to the guys following behind him and the Maple Leafs lineup, looking at Duffy, many of these guys for the first time.
Justin Mara trying to get aboard. Here's the 2-2. Swinging a ball hit in the air. A lot of people converging on this one. Back goes the shortstop, and making a relatively nice catch. Backpedaling was David Ortiz as he called off Justin Gideon. And now there's 2 away. Here's Jordan Castaldo, who just keeps getting on base. Now has an on-base percentage of .537, and we thought that was going to go down. It really hasn't.
And he's done this in the past. You go back to his Triple Crown season. He finished that season with an OBP over 500. He's just a guy that's quite tough to get out, to say the least.
Jordan Castaldo has just 75 at-bats, which is about average on the Toronto Maple Leafs, but he's leading the team with 108 plate appearances this season.
He's only missed 1 game. He's one of those guys that plays every day, or every game, I should say, at least. In that 2-hole, in that 3-hole, whatever it may be. And what a tough out he is. The toughest out, in my opinion, in the entire league.
Duffy looks in. He's got the first 2 relatively quickly. One via the strikeout. That was Jose Vinicio, and then a pop-out off the bat of Justin Mara.
This is not an easy 1-2-3 for a right-handed pitcher facing the switch hitting Vinicio and 2 lefties in Mara and Castaldo.
Jordan Castaldo has 2 home runs in his last 3 games, as this one's way outside.
Duffy is an interesting piece for Hamilton. He's committed to a D1 at Canisius, which is a decent, D1, relatively close to Canada. And a lot of top pitchers in this league have come from that program. So he has a big upside for sure for Hamilton.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Not something many can do to Jordan Castaldo, but Duffy can. He has a 1-2-3. Bottom of the first inning. It's still 0-0 between the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Hamilton Cardinals. We'll be right back on Toronto Maple Leafs baseball on YouTube. This is the DH Louis Jean for the Hamilton Cardinals, the 5-hitter in the lineup. Sam Green coming out for his second inning of work, kept his pitch count relatively low in that first inning. Big swing and a miss by Jean. Sam Green looks in. Here's the 0-1. Swinging a foul off right towards the Hamilton Cardinals dugout. Jean pops one in the air. This one looks playable for Jordan Castaldo. He gets over, but can't make the catch. And new life for Louis Jean, but still in an 0-2 hole against Green. Sean Petner's on deck, and he's really been swinging the bat well lately. 3 for 5 last game against the Brantford Red Sox and hitting .341 on the season. John would love to get on base in front of him. There's a pitch in the dirt and way outside from Green. Grant Tamane is the left fielder for the Maple Leafs, then Connor Lewis in center and Greg Carrington in right field. Another 0-2, and this one's hit in the air and back and out of play. Louis Jean is putting up a battle here with a 2-2 count on Sam Green. Jean hammers one to third base, but John Salazzo is right there to make the catch. That had a scorching exit velocity off the bat, but right at John Salazzo in the hot corner. And there's one away. So it's Lane Renault, the batter, and then it's Sean Petner who's on deck now. Lane Renault hitting .210 this season and 81 at-bats. 17 hits, 11 RBIs, 4 walks. Struck out 26 times in 81 at-bats. Foul him straight back. One ball and one strike on Lane Renault. Green looks in. 1-1 up high, 2-1. Swing and a miss, strike 2. Although the strikeout numbers are high and the batting average isn't relatively high for Lane Renault, he does have 3 home runs this season, so he does have some pop. Renault swings and misses, strike 3. Sam Green gets him on a 2-2 count. And now there's 2 away.
And you have to think, with Green's pitch count not all that high, you got to let him ride if he gets out of this inning clean, or even allowing one base runner. Because if he can give you your 3rd inning, take that and run if you're Damon Topley, the Maple Leafs manager.
Pitch count at 27 right now for Green. That's pretty good, but it's about what he can do right here with the .341 hitting Peterson, and that one's inside. Sean Petner, just 13 strikeouts and 41 at-bats. He swings and fouls it off. Petner's another guy who likes to swing the bat with that .341 average, just 5 walks. 16 hits on the season and 14 of them singles. Here's the ball hit in the air. Pretty well hit, but it's going to hang up for Greg Carrington, who's under it and makes the catch, and the pitch count stays low for Sam Green, now at 30. And we'll see what Damon Topley does about another inning of work for the young righty. We will be back on Toronto Maple Leafs baseball. Still 0-0 between the Maple Leafs and the Hamilton Cardinals. Aaron Duffy out for another inning of work, and the first pitch is swung on and lined up the middle by John Salazzo. It was a 1-2-3 inning in the first, and now Salazzo reaches, and he's been swinging a red-hot bat of late.
And it really goes to show, we know what Castaldo can do for the team, we know what Mara can do for the team, but behind those two, and even Benicio, so the three guys, Salazzo's going to do what he's now doing the last week or so for the Maple Leafs. What a difference that makes in this Leafs lineup. It can be not quite as maybe the lineup was last season, but quite close.
That brings up Aiden McCaskey. First pitch is in there for a strike. Aaron Duffy doing a really good job of throwing strikes here early on. With that hit, John Salazzo will now bump that average over 300 on the season. He's been really finding his form of late. He has 19 RBIs to go along with that sparkling batting average. Pitch is high to Aiden McCaskey, hitting .282 this season.
McCaskey was the only Maple Leafs batter not to have a hit Friday in London, but even then he got on base via first inning walk. So it was quite the night for the Maple Leafs on Friday in London.
Always helps out when you have an 8-run inning, and
Of course.
the Maple Leafs trying to start an inning right now as Aiden McCaskey takes inside ball 4, first and second, nobody out for Connor Lewis, who has been swinging a good bat and has been rewarded as well as he's been bumped up in the lineup a couple places tonight.
I wonder if this is a spot the Leafs might look at bunting. We've been kind of joking in the clubhouse, hey, maybe we've got to play some small ball here at Christie Pitts, but I'm not sure if that. I think that's mostly just a joke, but this might be a spot third baseman's not expecting to bunt. Lewis has speed. He laid down a bunt last week that really helped the Maple Leafs win that ball game in the 9th inning, so it should be an interesting spot to see if he perhaps lays down a bunt in this spot.
And he does. Squares around, but he pops it up, and it's going to drop in fair territory and somehow stay fair. Throw down to second base to get the force out. Now going to third. John Salazzo barely in there at third base.
Thankfully for Salazzo, it wasn't a force out. Otherwise, it had been quite the call by the umpire.
That was close at third base, and Duffy really should have spun around and threw that ball to third,
Absolutely.
not second, as John Salazzo would have been hosed in there. So that bunt is not the least successful thing we've ever seen. Now first and third with one out. Certainly wasn't successful.
You don't see many bunts where you got a guy over to third base, but the guy's out at second, and the guy bunting the baseball safe at first base. But
I don't know how that ball stayed fair.
I don't know how that ball wasn't caught, given how it came up pretty high. So both the catcher and pitcher had time to get to the ball, but quite the interesting play here in the second inning.
Well, here's Grant Amane. Takes inside. Came back for an injury last game against the London Majors, and Toronto happy to have his bat and defense back in the lineup. Runner first, Connor Lewis does have some speed. And there he goes. It's a steal attempt and now a throwback to first, and they got him picked off. 2 away. Connor Lewis thought he had Duffy read, went too early, and it ended up being an easy pickoff move for the righty.
Yeah, that's a tough one for the Maple Leafs. They should have guys on second and third, 1 out. And instead they have a guy on third base and 2 out. Just can't run into many outs, and definitely can't run into 2 outs in 1 inning.
Two or a runner on third, way inside to Tamani. Dan Mara hits a ball to center field. This one's up in the air for Justin Gideon. And that'll do it for the Maple Leafs, and maybe a bit of a spoiled opportunity. Runners on first and second, nobody out. A couple turns of events, and it ends up being a relatively quick inning for Andrew Duffy, and the Maple Leafs go down in the bottom of the second inning. We head to the third, still 0-0 between the Hamilton Cardinals and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Sean Petner is going to lead things off for the Hamilton Cardinals. Sam Green back on the mound, trying to get through 3 innings, which would be a huge win for the Maple Leafs and their bullpen. First pitch is in there for a strike.
And nobody's up in that Maple Leafs bullpen. There's a couple guys stretching, Kyle Smith being one of them, but no one really up in that Maple Leafs bullpen.
We mentioned that Sam Green has a ERA over 7 right now, as there's one inside 1-1. But before his last 2 starts, he was sitting with a whip under 1, an ERA of close to 0. But he had a game versus Guelph where he gave up a couple runs, and then last game versus Kitchener where he gave up 5, also in 1 inning of work.
And I've talked to Damon Topley about it. He said he thinks Green's velocity is dipping a bit, but right now he's looking quite nice through 2 innings for the Maple Leafs here as he looks to bounce back after his, as you said, 2 tough outings in a row.
10 strikeouts and 9 2/3 coming to this game. And there's one over the inside corner. Strike 3 called. That's the 3rd in 3 innings for Green. And there's 1 away.
A nice mix of fastball, curveball for Green in this game. He has enough pitches to get by as a starting pitcher, although he's quite expected to be a reliever for the Maple Leafs down the stretch and headed into the playoffs.
This is already the longest outing that Sam Green has had all season. He pitched 2 innings against the Welland Jackfish. That was back on June 25th. Sam Green has never gone into the 3rd inning of work, let alone finish the 3rd inning. Pitch in there for a strike again.
You're the Leafs. You'd love to have 2 out, nobody on base for Justin Gideon, who's on deck for the Hamilton Cardinals.
Sean Petner was 3 for 4 last game against the Brantford Red Sox and fouls one off, still 2 strikes. Here's the 2-strike pitch from Green. Swing and a miss. Strike 3 on a high fastball. Sam Green has struck out the first 2 Hamilton Cardinals he's faced to start off this 3rd inning.
It should be interesting, as you said. This is now the longest he's gone in a ball game at any point this season, and now for the 2nd time through the order now facing Hamilton. So it should be interesting if Hamilton can figure him out as he now bat around here. 2nd time for each batter as we head into now the 3rd inning.
First pitch swung on and missed by Justin Gideon.
I said this last inning, but if you're Damon Topley, you get another out here from Green. You kind of have to
go for a 4th?
You kind of have to until he runs into trouble at that point. You do want to be proactive and not reactive at the same time. On a day like this, you might have to let him ride as long as you possibly can.
Over the inside corner. Strike 2 on Justin Gideon.
And one of the signs, too, that maybe a pitcher is slowing down is he's starting to throw balls and he's laboring, he's taking time in between pitches. That's anything but right now for Green.
He's on the upward trajectory
Yeah.
still. Let's see if he can get Justin Gideon here. 0-2. Here's the pitch. Inside, ball 1.
Franklin Hernandez is expected to pitch for the Maple Leafs in this game. The new Dominican, former Milwaukee Brewers prospect, but as of right now, the Ray Green's pitching. That might not be for another few innings.
No action in the bullpen thus far. Swung on and fouled off by Gideon. Justin Gideon came over from University of Brock. Been a Hamilton Cardinal for the last couple of years. And a Burlington Bandit before that.
Can't forget about the Burlington Herd, too. Burlington had a couple team names throughout his time down in Burlington.
Yeah, I guess he did.
Yeah.
2-strike pitch again. Swinging a ball in the dirt. Strike 3. The throw down to first to complete the strikeout of the side for Sam Green, who shows some visible excitement coming off the mound and maybe has earned himself another inning of work as well. It's been a pitcher's duel so far at Dominico Field from Thomas West and Ryan Eakin. It's still 0-0 between the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Hamilton Cardinals. Grant Money leading things off for the Maple Leafs in the bottom of the third inning. Duffy still on the mound for the Cardinals. First pitch to Tamane, way outside, ball one.
Tamani, Carrington, Vinicio due up for the Maple Leafs, righty, lefty, switch hitter. So lots of lefties once again in this Maple Leafs lineup tonight.
It's worth noting as well that first home run for Jose Vinicio came as a righty at Labatt Park. Grant Tamane takes the ball. Count is now 3-0 on the Leafs righty. Here's the 3-0. Right down the middle for strike one. Three and one on Grant Tamane. In there for strike two.
Well, anyway, all accounts looking at back-to-back pitches. I don't think he had any real interest in definitely submitting 3-0, but even 3-1 to begin this inning.
Maple Leafs got the first two runners on. This one's ripped foul down the right side. Maple Leafs got the first two runners on last inning and the bottom of the second, but we're unable to cash in. Now Grant Tamane trying to get that started once again. Carrington on deck. Here's the 3-2. Swung on and hit pretty well, but foul down the right side. Full count once again to Tamane. A breaking ball, and that one's lined through the right side. Grant Tamane is aboard with a leadoff single. And that brings up Greg Carrington.
That's a great at-bat by Tamani, finished by going opposite field. That's quite the at-bat from a guy that Damon Topley really, in a full lineup, might like in that ninth spot as the second leadoff guy. Not that the guy at the plate can't do that himself.
Carrington spent some time as leadoff hitter early in the season. Now he's trying to advance that runner or keep the line moving for the what seems to be a hot bat of Jose Vinicio. Carrington hits one in the air to the left side, but it's way foul.
Hamilton has their third baseman playing in. But to me, in this spot, only a guy on first base, no one out. I don't think this is a spot where you bunt and give up an out just to advance the guy to second base. Not yet at this point in the ballgame, anyway.
That one strike on Carrington moved back Sean Petner, the third baseman. This one's outside 1-1. Petner's at third, and then David Ortiz at second, or at shortstop. Way outside, that looked like a breaking ball from Duffy. Now 2 balls and 1 strike on Greg Carrington.
Duffy is missing a bit. I mean, he's had 2 clean innings from a not allowing any runs perspective, but 21 strikes, 16 balls. The pitch count is getting up there a bit, and a lot of balls being thrown.
Carrington fouls it off, 2-2. Outside 3-2. Now 2 full counts to the first batters of the inning.
It should be interesting with Tamani at first, a guy that can make contact in the number 9 hole in Carrington. Do you send Tamani in this at bat, or on this pitch? I should say.
This is pitch number 45. Up and in, ball 4. Went off the glove of the back catcher Mirror.
Here's one for you, Thomas. First and second, do you try it again? No one out with Vinicio, or do you let a guy who's been red hot with his bat swing this baseball?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Jose Vinicio wants to bunt.
Yeah. No, he might be able to bunt and get on base.
Yeah.
Just given his speed, but as you see, Dustin Richardson, the former Boston Red Sox, be the ball boy for today.
I think if the bunt sign was given to Jose
You
Vinicio
think he
here,
turns it off?
yeah, he might shake it off. No, that we are basing that off of no facts whatsoever. I think early in the game,
Third baseman playing back, he might be able to bunt and get on if he lays out a nice bunt down the third baseline. Because he does have elite speed.
well, let's see. Jose Vinicio has a righty, swings and pops it up. This one's on the infield. David Ortiz goes over, makes the catch, one away. Oh yeah, I guess he should have bunted.
I guess why you had to. I mean, everyone knew you should have punted that baseball.
Hindsight 2020.
Monday morning corner.
And here's Justin Mara, the catcher. Both guys coming up. Great RBI guys for the Maple Leafs. One away, first and second. Duffy's gotten a bit of trouble the last two innings, trying to work out of it just like he did last inning. Spins and doesn't throw to second base. There was no one covering. Grant Tamane hustled back.
I have to think the Maple Leafs keep eating base runners on base, and eventually something's going to pop. And there's no better opportunity for the Maple Leafs to have something pop than with Justin Amara at the plate and Jordan Castaldo on deck.
21 RBIs on the season for Justin Mara as the pitch is outside.
It was these two that won the game against Hamilton in the only meeting Hamilton has had at Christie pitched this season. Justin Amara with 2 outs, tying the game on a home run before Castaldo walked it off one at bat later. So these two have done damage against Hamilton this season.
Outfield played straight away against Justin Mara. Here's the pitch way up and in. Which surprises me a little bit with the outfield played straight away because Justin Mara has been elevating the ball lately and he's been elevating it to the pull side as well.
Lots of Maple Leafs have been going opposite field this season. We've seen it from Castaldo. We've seen it from even a guy like John Salazzo. So all these guys in the middle of the Maple Leafs lineup have a lot of power to all sides of the field for sure.
John Salazzo has gone the other way. We saw him hit a big grand slam for his first home run of the season. That was against the Kitchener Panthers. Last game, the Maple Leafs were here at Dominico Field. Jordan Castaldo did the same thing going the other way. Justin Mara is a little bit more of a pull hitter than those two. Over the outside corner, strike two. Duffy looks in. Checks the runner on second. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball way outside. He says some trouble locating that breaking ball early in this game.
And that means you have to rely on your fastball. Relying on your fastball against a team that eats fastballs can be pretty tough. But once again, Duffy, I mean, he's still one pitch away from getting out of this. If he can generate a ground ball on Mara.
Swing and a miss, strike three. That was a high fastball to Justin Mara. And the task of cashing in those two leadoff runners getting on falls on the shoulders of Jordan Castaldo.
No question that was ball 4-2 Justin Mara, but he swings through the high fastball. And as you said, it's now brings up Castaldo with, to me, almost a must opportunity to cash in at least one run here. You don't want to keep stranded base runners against the Hamilton lineup that can do some damage, especially 1-6 in that Hamilton lineup.
Castaldo takes maybe inside there for ball one. Jordan Castaldo hit his 6th home run of the season against London last game. That was part of back-to-back home runs with John Salazzo. A hot shot to the shortstop, David Ortiz. It eats him up, but he is able to keep it on the infield, which might be important with the speed of Grant Tamane rounding third base. So now bases loaded. And this might be the guy you want up with the bases loaded for John Salazzo.
I was going to make a joke and say that's why we can't have David Ortiz play shortstop, but I'm refusing to make that joke. So
Well, you just did.
I kind of just said without saying that I'm proud of it, basically. But you have to get that hit. Obviously, it was an absolute rocket off the bat of the Maple Leafs' number 3 hitter. So a great opportunity for the guy right now at the plate who's been red hot for the Maple Leafs.
Yeah, it's not an error, and it's really important that David Ortiz was able to keep that ball in front of him, or else Grant Amani surely would have scored. Salazzo takes strike one. That was a crisp fastball there from Duffy.
No question, Duffy has some velocity on his fastball for sure. Both bullpens remain empty. Duffy, a traditional starting pitcher, so that's no surprise.
Pitch outside, 1-1.
Salazzo used to play on Hamilton back in the day when Hamilton was the Hamilton Thunderbirds before eventually becoming a Maple Leaf.
And he used to pitch a little bit.
He used to pitch a little bit. Also for the Maple Leafs, men absolutely needed.
For last season, this obviously ended right when I got here midway through the season. I was talking to Gene Pereira, who watched a whole bunch of Maple Leafs games, and he said, John Salazzo was kind of working his way into a closer role for the Maple Leafs last year.
That was, I think he's a little bit better off at third base and then clean up spot myself.
Pitch is just upstairs.
Nice frame job by Aiden Bear, the Hamilton catcher, but not called strike 3, and Salazzo lives to fight another pitch.
2 balls and 2 strikes on John Salazzo. He's got the bases loaded with 2 outs, and the Maple Leafs trying not to escape another run-scoring opportunity here for the second inning in a row, but they're going to need some magic here from Salazzo. Here's the pitch hammered down the right field line, but well foul. Count remains 2-2 on the big lefty.
The Leafs will happily take a base hit from Salazzo in this spot, even if it means cashing in 1 run. So you have to at least get something, in my opinion, at least show for the 5 base runners they've had in the last 2 innings.
He singled up the middle in his last at-bat, probably trying to stay to that part of the field. Here's the 2-2. Swinging a ball hit in the air, foul left side. That one gets out of play.
56 pitches for Duffy here in the 3rd inning. So it's one of those things for Duffy, too, right now, where that pitch count is getting up there. But right now, he's just focused on getting out of this inning. He'll deal with the 6th, 7th, and 8th innings as that happens.
Aiden Muir heads to the mound. Talk things over on this 2-2 pitch to John Salazzo. The on-deck batter is Aiden McCaskey. There's nowhere to put John Salazzo. Bases are loaded. Outside, 3-2. And now if you're John Salazzo, you have to be imagining this will be a fastball and it will be in the strike zone as long as it's where Duffy wants it.
You almost have to think he might go back to another high fastball and perhaps try to get Salazzo to chase. But an interesting pitch selection here by the catcher and pitcher.
Salazzo likes the fastball. Here's the pitch. Hit in the air. This one's to right field. Pretty well hit, but it looks like there might be room out there in the outfield, and about 4 steps in front of the wall is Tyler Duncan, who makes the catch. And just barely by the skin of their teeth, the Hamilton Cardinals will get out of another RBI opportunity for the Maple Leafs. And this game remains tied at 0s through 3 innings. We'll be right back on Toronto Maple Leafs Baseball on YouTube.
Your phone's like so.
The number 2 hitter will lead things off. David Ortiz takes outside ball 1.
The Maple Leafs do have somebody up in their bullpen, Kyle Smith, who also pitched at D1 at Niagara University, up in the Maple Leafs bullpen.
A ground ball up the middle, and that one's going to bounce through the shortstop and the second baseman. The leadoff man is on David Ortiz. That brings up Tyler Duncan. Runner on first base, and Duncan fouls it back. And by the way, Sam Green back on the mound for the Maple Leafs, going for a 4th inning of work. And if he gets through this inning, that would double the most he's pitched this entire season.
Not easy, facing 2, 3, 4 in the Hamilton lineup with the number 2 guy getting on base, and it brings up Tyler Duncan, who's been one of Hamilton's best bats this season, to say the least. Ortiz might go at first.
There he goes. The pitch in the dirt. The throw down to second base. They got a shot. And that's a hose down there from Justin Mara. Ortiz is caught stealing, and it wasn't close. And now there's no one on with 1 out for the Hamilton Cardinals.
Everyone knew he was going to run on that pitch. But it's always tough. Number 2 guy getting thrown out with your number 3 guy up at the plate. But worth the try against Sam Green, who's been excellent for the Maple Leafs in this ballgame.
Duncan flies one in the air to left field. This one's going to be playable. And coming in and making the catch is Grant Tamane. And there's 2 away. And this is an incredible stat line as well from Green. Despite being able to get through 3 and now 2/3 innings of work, he's throwing 35 strikes and just 13 balls.
This is exactly what David Topley's been wanting from his pitching staff last couple seasons. Go in and pound the strikes. And if you get hit, you get hit. There's not much you can do. But the one thing that you can absolutely do and should do is still nothing but strikes.
There is some action now in the Maple Leafs bullpen. Ball fisted down to first base, and that one's going to roll fair. Oh, my goodness.
For Sam Green.
That was an incredibly fortunate bounce there for the Toronto Maple Leafs as it rolled foul and then came right back into fair territory. A heads up, Jordan Costaldo picked it up and stepped on the bag. And Sam Green is through 4 innings of work, and he's done it on just over 50 pitches. We head to the bottom of the 4th inning. The Toronto Maple Leafs coming up. It's still 0-0 between Toronto and Hamilton. Welcome back to Toronto Maple Leafs baseball on YouTube. Aiden McCaskey leading things off. Duffy back out there on the mound, and Aiden McCaskey hits one up the middle, but right there is the second baseman. Whip on to first base, one away.
And Duffy needed a quick first out in this ball game to say the least, and this inning I should say, and he gets it there on McCaskey.
Brings up Connor Lewis now, hitting .229 this season. Lewis reached base in his last at-bat and then was picked off at first base. First pitch taking all the way. He takes strike one. This one's popped up on the infield. It's going to be the first baseman, Josh Niles, who makes the catch, and now there's two away on 3 pitches for Duffy. Dan Mara, the batter with 2 outs for the Maple Leafs, flew out to center field last time.
Might just be one of those innings for the Leafs. They have a 2-out rally, right? They've had all these leadoff guys on last couple of innings. Maybe it's time for a 2-out rally with nobody on base.
It is 7-8-9 though, and the Leafs lineup coming up here. Dan Mara, another one of those guys with great bat-to-ball skills, struck out just 6 times in 46 at-bats this season. Duffy's pitch is taken on the outside corner for a strike. This game has been clicking along here at Christie Pitts as there's strike 2 to Mara.
The entire Leafs dugout didn't like that one. Neither did Dan Mara at the plate. I think it's a bit low.
Hamilton has no runs on 2 hits. The Maple Leafs, no runs on 3 hits. But they've had chances to score in their last 2 innings. Here's the ball hit on the ground. This could be a tough play for the third baseman. Hetner throws it away at first. And although that was a ball to his right or to his left, that probably will be charged as an error to Sean Hetner.
Yeah, I think you have to get that one not a hit. Again, it was, as you said, to his right, a tough play, but at the same time, he corralled the ball with enough time where you have to make an accurate throw. And he did anything but. Did Hamilton, third baseman.
So they do score an E5, and it looks like he might have been a little bit off balance trying to throw that to first base. May have lost his footing. Here's Grant Tamane. He takes in there for a strike.
This might be a spot for me that you perhaps try to steal second base because Tamane's not a guy with massive power. So unless he puts the ball in the gap or he hits a home run, it's likely to take 2 hits to bring home Dan Mars. Perhaps try to steal second base here.
Inside 1-1. Well, we'll see if he goes. If Grant Tamane can get on deck, Greg Carrington does have some power. Another one in there for a strike. Now 1-2. Duffy about to throw pitch number 69. And the pitch count getting up there now in this 4th inning. There goes the runner. Throw down to second base. It was close, but he was in there. Dan Mara steals second base. And now there is that runner in scoring position for Grant Tamane with a 2-2 count.
Yeah, to me, you had to try it. At Tamane, he strikes out and you do it all over again the next inning, but you have to at least get him in a position where it's now a base hit away, making this a 1-0 lead, for the Maple Leafs.
That's the 3rd stolen base of the season for Dan Mara. Here's the pitch to Tamani. He lines it into the outfield. That's going to fall for a base hit. Dan Mara is steaming around third base. The throw, and oh boy, a throwback to first base, but it almost seemed like there was time to go and make the tag at home plate. Dan Mara ends up scoring easily. The throw was right on the money. And the Maple Leafs jump out to a 1-0 lead against the Hamilton Cardinals in the bottom of the fourth inning.
Yeah, that's exactly what the Maple Leafs needed. I said 2-out rally. Dan Mara gets off the 2-out hit. He's still second base, and he gives Tamani an opportunity to get a base hit to give the team a 1-0 lead. Not a great throw from the right fielder for Hamilton. It was off balance. Otherwise, it perhaps could have gone down. Dan Mara at second base, or at home plate, coming from second base, but nonetheless, it's 1-0 Maple Leafs.
Well, I'll give a bit of credit to Tyler Duncan there. The throw actually was online and on the fly. It was Muir, the catcher, was about 7 feet in front of home plate. You almost wonder if he had backed up just a little, but that could have been actually a perfect throw to home plate. And Mara, the throw beat him by a mile.
Yeah. Oh, and he ended up being standing up at home plate, so he didn't even have to dive down, keep the white jersey nice and clean. Not that it would be clean from the stolen base at second base, but nonetheless, 1-0 Maple Leafs.
Well, the Maple Leafs will take it, and as you predicted, the first run does come via the 2-out rally.
How about that? 2-out rally, still second base, get a base hit away from giving the team a 1-0 lead.
With first and second and nobody out both innings prior. Here's the pitch, hit on the ground to first, but it's foul. Greg Carrington's the batter now for the Maple Leafs.
And to me, this is a spot for the Maple Leafs. Perhaps they do it all over again. With Tamani, plus speed, not maybe the speed of Dan Mara, but he has plus speed. Although Greg Carrington's the guy that you could perhaps expect in the line hole to hit a ball in the gap and get home Tamani from first base.
2 for 3 last game against London with a couple of walks. Pitch is way inside.
And
2 balls, 2 strikes.
And that pitch cut for Duffy, we talked about it. You mentioned at least 2 outs and 3 pitches. But then he's once again gone down that road of throwing so many pitches in this inning as that pitch count continues to get elevated.
75 pitches so far for Duffy. He's got a 2-2 count on the number 9 hitter, and Jose Vinicio on deck is probably not someone he wants to face with runners on base. But there's one right down the middle. Strike 3 called against Greg Carrington. And Duffy gets out of it, but not before the Toronto Maple Leafs do a little bit of work with 2 outs. It ends up being an RBI single from Brant Tamani to score Adam Mara. And the Maple Leafs have a 1-0 lead over the Hamilton Cardinals. We'll be right back. In the top of the 5th inning, it's Toronto Maple Leafs baseball on YouTube. Louis Jean leading things off for the Hamilton Cardinals, facing a new pitcher now, Kyle Smith, who throws nothing but gas, and he can be extremely effective for the Maple Leafs. It's just a matter of whether he can locate his stuff.
Yeah, it's always one of these things in the IBL. The guy comes in and he's throwing the velocity that Kyle Smith is throwing. This is like the reason that's holding him back from being perhaps an independent baseball or even an affiliated baseball. If the Kyle Smith is just his lack of ability to throw strikes often enough. And we saw that last Saturday, right? He came in and got himself into a bit of trouble, and Adam Moore had to clean it up. But there's no question the upside of Kyle Smith in this Maple Leafs bullpen.
2 balls. Here's the ball hit on the ground. Jose Benicio and takes a horrible hop over his head. He couldn't have jumped 10 feet to get that ball. And that will go as a leadoff single.
There is nothing Kyle Smith or Jose Benicio can do about that one. That one you might think, oh, maybe it went off the bag. No, that's just a Christy Pitts bounce.
That is a wild bounce. Louis Jean is on at first base. And a dejected Benicio goes back to his defensive position.
You got to think of Kyle Smith, too. He's like, man, I just got to lead off out, 1 out and a couple pitches, and then all of a sudden it's a leadoff base runner.
Pitch is in the dirt. It goes to the backstop, and that's the 3rd pitch we should note as well that Kyle Smith is throwing in the dirt. If you're wondering where the Whitby, Ontario Kyle Smith's velocity comes from, it's his frame. 6'7", 200 pounds, and it is arms and legs coming at you and coming at you fast. There's another one in the dirt, and Justin Mara blocks it.
Maple Leafs bullpen is empty right now, hoping for at least 1 inning from Kyle Smith, to say the least.
Lane Renault is the batter. He's got a runner in scoring position now with that wild pitch, although Lane Renault has been struggling over his last 4 games. Here's the ball on the ground. Jose Benicio makes the play, whips a throw to first. What a play by Jose Benicio, and he holds the runner at second base as well. And he gets a nod as well from the big righty Kyle Smith. 1 away.
There wasn't a ton of speed coming out of the batter's box, but nonetheless, that is a terrific play by Jose Benicio. He's been terrific all season at shortstop for the Maple Leafs.
Sean Petner now with the runner on second base. This is the guy that the Hamilton Cardinals want coming up with a runner in scoring position, especially down in the lineup. .341 batting average by Petner. Smith looks in. Here's the pitch. This one's hit in the air, foul left side.
Franklin Hernandez now throwing in the Maple Leafs bullpen.
And this is exciting with Franklin Hernandez. You mentioned a former Major League Baseball prospect. They're really starting to rack up those former MLB prospects.
Well, you have to. That's the name of the game in the IBL. You need at least a couple Dominicans or Cubans, whatever it may be, to get you through the regular season and into the playoffs. And that's the case now with the Maple Leafs here in 2022 with Castro and now Hernandez.
There's a wild pitch in the dirt, and the runner is going to move up to third base now. And these are the control issues for Kyle Smith that we've mentioned. And he really needs to handle it now with a runner on third base, and a wild pitch could score that run. The pitch to Petner. Hit on the ground to shortstop. Benicio holds the runner, throws over to first base. And how about that? Jose Benicio, 2 fantastic defensive plays. And now Kyle Smith has an opportunity to get out of this inning with 2 outs and a runner on third base.
No question. And how about credit Kyle Smith, too? He's generated nothing but ground balls, and he really should have 3 ground outs to the shortstop, but it's been anything but just because of the Christy Pitts bounce to lead off this inning. But Louis Jean, no chance he was right on that play. This is his first game back after missing almost a month with a growing issue, so I don't expect him to run on 50-50 plays in this game.
And I almost wonder if the wild nature of the pitching of Kyle Smith might have factored into his decision not to try and risk it and come home.
Yeah, you keep the inning alive, and whether it's Kyle Smith or anyone else, keep the inning alive and see if your fellow teammate can cash in the run and tie this ball game at 1.
Right now, Kyle Smith's ERA is sitting at 11.59, but that's just in 2 1/3 innings pitched.
if you have one tough outing with that little innings pitch, and really elevate that ERA to say the least.
I'm not sure that Kyle Smith has thrown a breaking ball as well. He's just fastball, fastball, fastball. Way outside, ball 3-1.
And I'm sure Damon Topley would love Kyle Smith to get out of this inning, and that way Hernandez, who just landed at Pearson this morning, can come in the sixth and have a clean inning to begin with.
In there, 3-2. One strike away from getting into the inning now for Kyle Smith.
So you go fastball, you make him hit your fastball. That's no question in the 90s.
That looked like a breaking ball that time in the dirt from Kyle Smith, and I'm scratching my head at that pitch decision. And that's ball 4.
And there's no question you want to get the batter batting ninth for Hamilton right now, and Justin Gideon on deck.
You almost wonder if Kyle Smith kind of has that attribute of being effectively wild.
Yeah,
where
no question. You look at the Baycats, they have it with Chris Cox, a guy that can throw upwards of 91, 92, 93, former Maple Leaf himself. And those guys, I talked to Casallo about a guy like Chris Cox in the Baycats. He's like, yeah, he comes in, he throws a bunch of balls, and that's nice. But do you have any idea how difficult it is to be in the batter's box without having any clue where that baseball's going? It's not easy.
It's almost like when Kyle Smith has come into the game in the small sample size we've seen him, he's like, I'm going to come and throw the baseball. You're not going to hit it.
No,
it's just a matter of whether you're going to get on base or not.
Yeah. And also, the guy down at third base, he got on base from a hit against Kyle Smith, but that's not really a hit against Kyle Smith in all honesty. I mean, it should have been a ground out to the shortstop, and quite frankly, 3 up, 3 down.
And there for a strike. That was a breaking ball from Smith.
And you see it, the batter backs up thinking, who knows where this pitch is going. And it was, at the end of the day, right down the plate. So he can play to his advantage here.
The pitch to Muir, just barely getting a piece of it. He fouls it off. Now there's 1 ball and 2 strikes on the Hamilton catcher. Runner at first and third. Kyle Smith trying to get out of this jam. Breaking ball just outside. And that looks like a slider, and it looks sharp as well.
And I thought personally up here it's a strike, but again, we're also on a sidewalk on top of the hill, but not much argument from Kyle Smith or Justin Morrow.
Hit on the ground. Another play for Jose Benicio. He flips to second. And how about that by Kyle Smith? Had some command issues early on, but uses that velocity to get himself out of the inning. And the Hamilton Cardinals remain scoreless. It's 1-0 Toronto Maple Leafs on Maple Leafs Baseball on YouTube. Drew Main Prize is the new pitcher for the Hamilton Cardinals, and he'll face Jose Vinicio and then a couple of lefties. It's a good matchup with Main Prize being a lefty.
That's the whole idea here. Main Prize is not some shutdown reliever by any means, but he comes in, he faces the switch hitting Vinicio, and then he faces 3 lefties in Mara Casaldo, McCaskey, and that's 3 of them right there. So lots of lefties coming up after Vinicio.
So Vinicio will try and get on as he's the only favorable matchup in the next 3 batters. And he rips one down the left field line, but it's going to hook foul.
Bobby? Oh. If he makes that catch down the third baseline, you can't see it, but that's the catch of the season.
Yeah, you have no perspective on what just happened there, but a fan tried to make a diving catch.
That is one way to describe it.
So hard contact from Jose Vinicio. Now he takes high 1-1. In the dirt. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Drew Main Prize has an ERA of .450 in 16 innings pitched. Struck out 10 over that period.
No question he can be an effective lefty. Against the Leafs lineup has a lot of lefties.
The 2-2 pitch to Jose Vinicio. Fouled off left side.
And even Vinicio, forcing him to switch around. The car may or may not have been struck by a foul ball by Vinicio.
Hope you're not parked out there.
It is tough to defend the people at T Park because there is a baseball game going on at 2 o'clock at Chrissy Pitts on a Sunday afternoon in the summer. It's not shocking at this point. It's been 50 years.
I don't think people see it as a badge of honor to have your car hit. There's a line drive right back to the pitcher. Throw on to first base, but it wasn't necessary. He caught it on the fly. 1 away. So we'll see how Mara, then Salazzo face against this lefty-lefty matchup. Or excuse me, next one is Jordan Castaldo. Strike 1. And not looking particularly comfortable on that pitch was Justin Mara.
If there's one weakness in this Maple Leafs lineup, and it might be the only weakness, is they do have their numbers dip against soft-throwing lefties. And there's no question that Main Prize is not coming in throwing 90-plus miles an hour. So he fits the bill, that soft-throwing lefty.
1-1, pitches outside. Maple Leafs have a run on 4 hits this afternoon. There's a breaking ball. That's strike 2. Although what I will say on that breaking ball is it's pretty clear when he's throwing it. Has a different delivery for the curveball versus the fastball. Outside, 2-2.
Hamilton wanted that call.
Justin Mara, no doubt, trying to sit on a fastball here. Here's the 2-2 pitch in the dirt. That was a breaking ball. Big hole to shoot for up the middle for Justin Mara. He's got a 3-2 count. He hits it up the middle, but this one's going to hang up for the center fielder, Justin Gideon. He comes in, makes the catch, and there's 2 away.
Main Prize doing an excellent job against 1-2 in the Maple Leafs lineup, and now brings up Jordan Castaldo, but with 2 out and nobody on base.
Drew Main Prize is throwing 12 pitches to the first 2 batters. 7 strikes, 5 balls. The 3-hitter, Jordan Castaldo. Fouls it off left side. way inside, 1-1.
I have to think main prize, if he can get Castaldo here, even if he doesn't, will come out for the next inning with 2 lefties on deck. Or due up, I should say, for the Maple Leafs.
Upstairs to Jordan Castaldo. Now 2 balls and 1 strike to the Maple Leafs first baseman. Fouled straight back, 2-2. You'd think if there was anyone in this Maple Leafs lineup who could handle a lefty-lefty matchup, It would be Jordan Castaldo.
No question.
He's had a couple funny hacks so far against main prize.
He's definitely throwing them off balance after the hard-throwing Duffy.
Hit on the ground, up the middle, but that one's snagged by the second baseman, falling and throwing onto first base. And what a pick out of the dirt over there at first base by Niles. The Maple Leafs go down 1-2-3 in the bottom of the 5th inning, still 1-0 Toronto Maple Leafs as we head to the top of the 6th inning. And it looks like new pitcher Hernandez coming into the game for the Maple Leafs. So here's Franklin Hernandez coming in and making his Toronto Maple Leafs debut. And he's got a tough test ahead of him, the top of the order for the Hamilton Cardinals. And leading off is Justin Gideon, and then David Ortiz is on deck. Gideon check swings at the first pitch, didn't go, ball 1.
Yeah, third base umpire says he did go on a check. You don't see that often, especially in the IBL, where the plate umpire or one of the base umpires comes down and says, "Oh, that was a strike."
So this is a let's see what we got moment here.
And welcome to the IBL 2, facing Justin Gideon, who He always seems like he's due for 1 or 2 big hits a game.
So that ball hit the ice cream truck at Dominico Field. 2 strikes now on Justin Gideon. Franklin Hernandez, coming from the Dominican Republic, was a 37th round draft pick of the Milwaukee Brewers. That was back in 2018. Last played professional baseball in the Arizona State League. That's rookie ball back in 2019. Pitch foul straight back by Justin Gideon. Had a good cut at that one.
Looks like he has some life to his fastball. Smaller guy. You know, as you look at least 2 top Dominican pitchers now, Castro comes in as a lot taller, as a hard-throwing righty, and Hernandez is a slim, small righty, but it's a nice contrast between the two.
Hernandez went to the College of Central Florida as Justin Gideon jumps back emphatically from that pitch.
Hernandez landed at Pearson this morning, so not sure how much he can give you in terms of innings, 1, 2, 3, 4 innings, whatever it may be, but nobody is up in that Maple Leafs bullpen right now.
Yeah, so keep that in mind. This is an incredibly tough test here for Hernandez, just outside. That was a breaking ball.
A backdoor breaking ball. They at least were hoping to call a strike, but not quite. The count moves to 2-2.
Franklin Hernandez is 26 years old. Pitches up and away. Now 3-2 on Justin Gideon.
And we talk about this with Vinicio all the time, but you allow Gideon to get on with a leadoff walk. That could easily become a double with his speed.
Gideon, a good defender out there in center field as well. Here's the 3-2 from Hernandez. Swing and a miss, strike 3. And welcome to the Toronto Maple Leafs, Franklin Hernandez, as he gets his first strikeout in his IBL career.
And it really is quite the welcome to the IBL moment, because outside of a guy like Sean Riley, Dalton Pompey, a few other guys, maybe on Kitcher and Liam Wilson or so on, there's not many guys you'd rather not face than Justin Gideon. So quite the first out for Franklin Hernandez in this ballgame.
Hernandez to Ortiz. Howard's in there for a strike. You think about how difficult it is not only for Hernandez hopping off the plane, but I can't imagine that a guy like Justin Mara, the catcher, has seen Franklin Hernandez stuff either.
I'm sure it was a quick, conversation prior to the game. Maybe
hey, what do you throw?
Bring them over. Said, what do you throw? What do you got? What do you like throwing the most? Shake me off if you want. That's okay for the first say, but after that, don't shake me off ever again.
2 strikes on Ortiz as he fouls it off. No balls, 2 strikes. David Ortiz in tough here against Franklin Hernandez. Here's the pitch over the outside corner. Strike 3 called. 2 strikeouts to start off his IBL career for Hernandez. And there's 2 away.
It doesn't get any easier for the Maple Leafs and Franklin Hernandez facing Tyler Duncan, who has always hit the Maple Leafs well this season, but so far 0 for 2 on the day.
Now Tyler Duncan, the righty, or the lefty, pitch in the dirt for Hernandez.
Duncan began the season playing independent baseball with Ottawa, got cut at training camp, same league that Garrett Takamatsu was playing for, but in Quebec. He was going to drive back home all the way to BC as he drove all the way to Ottawa, but Hamilton ended up keeping him around the province of Ontario.
Maple Leafs would love to have the bat of Garrett Takamatsu over there at third base, but I hear he's doing pretty well.
He had it was even last Sunday. Came home from Christie Pitts, and I saw he went 5 for 6. So it's really nice to see Tak having the season that he's having after being the IBL MVP in 2021. There's no question that he has a bright future in baseball.
And I'm hearing rumblings of this is not the final prospect that the Maple Leafs are adding to the roster. There might be a familiar face coming later on.
There might be a familiar face who is on the Maple Leafs roster page that doesn't have a picture up there yet. And, a right-handed bat that may or may not have been drafted by the Blue Jays in the 3rd round back in the day. So guy that also plays right field. So one addition that would be for a Maple Leafs lineup that has a lot of lefties. You stick a guy like that in the middle of the Maple Leafs lineup, it'd be quite the potent lineup. Maybe again, not to the point where it was last season with Sean Riley and Takamatsu and all that, but not that too far off either. And who knows, as we head towards the July 30th roster deadline, trade deadline, whatever you want to call it, there might be a couple other big bats joining the team too. So we'll see. I mean, that's the case with any team, but at least we'll see what they have up their sleeve.
And there for a strike 3-2. I'll take who is Marcus Connect for 300.
There you go. I can either confirm or deny.
Full count now on Duncan. Hernandez trying to get through a clean inning of work. Here's the pitch. Inside, over the inside corner. Strike 3 called. And Franklin Hernandez strikes out the side to start off his Maple Leafs career. How about that? The Maple Leafs once again holding on to a 1-0 lead. We head to the bottom of the 6th inning on Toronto Maple Leafs Baseball on YouTube. Welcome back to Maple Leafs Baseball on YouTube. It's Thomas West and Ryan Eakin here with you. Drew Main Prize back out for a second inning work for the Hamilton Cardinals, and the Maple Leafs still leading just 1-0. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning. John Salazzo is going to lead things off, and this is the assignment for Main Prize. Get all these lefties. They got another one on deck, and Aiden McCaskey check swing, and he went around. Strike 1 on John Salazzo. Main Prize was off to a hot start to this IBL season, but in his last 8 innings of work, he's allowed 10 runs. Gave up 3 runs in 2 innings to the Welland Jackfish. Pitch is in the dirt. Now it's 1-1 to John Salazzo. That was on July 5th, and that was his last outing for Main Prize. But who hasn't given up 3 runs to the Welland Jackfish, to be fair? The Welland Jackfish also providing 2 of those losses in this 4-game losing streak for the Hamilton Cardinals.
No question what Welland can do with their bats for sure. And they added a guy that was pitching in Mexico this season as their closer. So now they have that ability, if they have a lead late in the ball game, to really shorten games up and turn them into 7-8 inning games, kind of like what the Maple Leafs do with Dustin Richardson once he gets back healthy.
Pitch is outside, ball 4. John Salazzo is on first base to lead off this inning. And yet another lefty coming up to the plate, Aiden McCaskey.
And nobody is up in that Hamilton bullpen. So when we see Connor Lewis and Dan Mara and Grant Tamani, 3 straight righties up in the Maple Leafs lineup. That looks like it's going to be main prize lefty facing them. You have to like Damon Topley, right? Some guys, managers, they go, oh, we have to have a lefty here and a righty here. And Damon Topley says, here's a bunch of lefties followed by a bunch of righties. So keeps it nice and simple for us. And also Damon's logic is my best bats happen to be lefties. I'm not going to bat them 7th or 8th and have them get one less at bat in the game just because we might run into a lefty at some point.
Runner at first base is John Salazzo. Here's the pitch to Aiden McCaskey. Swung on, hit in the air to left field. This one's dropping near the line, and it's just foul. Lane Renault was over there to give it a look, but it dropped about 10 feet foul.
I don't think we'll see Salazzo attempt to steal second base here. I think it was a one-off back on Wednesday night with the Panthers catcher having the issues that he was having. So
yeah, so we got some insight from that. If you were one of the people watching, it wasn't an injury to the Panthers catcher. What did Damon describe it as?
It was a yips, and I figured as much. And I said, on the broadcast, it was like John Lesser throwing to first base. And,
here's the ball hit on the ground. A nice play by the second baseman. Throw her to first to get the out. And that's a fantastic play by Tyler Jankos to snag that ball and get the lead runner. So now Aiden McCaskey is on first base. That goes as the fielder's choice, one away.
I felt bad making the joke perhaps during the broadcast because you never know if the guy truly is injured or not. But no, as Damon Topley said, as he was packing up for the night, he said, no, man, that's just that's the yips. It happens. Sometimes it happens, and what a time it happened. And not only for the Panthers, but it happened to their catcher. And we all know the events that led to that late in that ball game. It was quite something I've never seen. I'm sure something you have never seen either.
Yeah, certainly something I've never seen before. And we were talking to Damon after the game, and we were kind of trying to, or at least I was trying to play it up as like, wow, that's crazy. Have you ever seen that before? And
he was quite casual about it.
And Damon was calm, cool, collected. He said, hey, man, it happens to everyone.
Yeah.
It's Damon as a former catcher himself and as a catching coach would obviously have the ultimate perspective on that.
I was talking to him after the game, and he was talking to the fact he was a catching coordinator with the Ontario Blue Jays. But then he said two of the guys he was, teaching to become catchers, they ended up becoming big league pitchers. Chris LaRue and Jonah Romano. We all know what Romano has done for the Blue Jays. So Topley tried to make him a catcher, and he said, "No, I'm not doing that. I'm going to be a big league closer." So I think he made the right call.
For those that are wondering what we're talking about as well, if you weren't watching the broadcast on Wednesday, it was the Kitchener Panthers catcher who, for about an inning and a half, wasn't able to throw the ball back to the pitcher. So there were throws going wild all over the place, and it caused the Maple Leafs just about get back in the ball game.
It was quite something, and this ballpark was as loud. I mean, obviously, this is my first season with the Maple Leafs, but it was as loud as you could possibly imagine, especially for a Wednesday night game in July. It was quite something.
Ended up being a 14-12 loss for the Maple Leafs. Lewis way in front, fouls it off to the left side. Aiden McCaskey over there at first base has pretty good speed. The only guy with a stolen base in this game so far.
It's a big lead for McCaskey at first.
Swing and a miss, fouled into the catcher. Only guy with a stolen base so far is Dan Mara for the Maple Leafs.
Ortiz attempted a stolen base for Hamilton earlier in the ballgame, but he was gunned down by Justin Mara on a play that wasn't really all that close.
Main prize is going to step off the mound and look Aiden McCaskey back to first base. This one's popped up on the infield, but it looks like it's going to hook back out of play. And that will be a foul ball. So it remains 1 ball and 2 strikes on Connor Lewis, who's putting up a battle against Drew Mainprize, who was at 31 pitches so far in his second inning of work. Pitched 1 1/3 so far. There's 1 away with Aiden McCaskey at first base, and he got there via a fantastic play by the Hamilton Cardinals second baseman.
Eighth pitch of the at-bat coming up here.
Up and away, 2-2.
Should say the 7th pitch of the at-bat. That was the 8th pitch coming up. A nice at-bat by Lewis.
Tyler Jankos is well out there at second base for the Hamilton Cardinals. Has made some nice defensive plays, as has Jose Vinicio for the Maple Leafs. 2 infielders to highlight in this game so far. That one's way inside. Aiden McCaskey is going to head down to second base. Now there's a runner in scoring position with a 3-2 count on Connor Lewis.
Not to jinx it and see the last 4 innings of this game become a shootout, but
which it could.
It absolutely could here at Christie Pitts. But it is a nice contrast after Wednesday's game, the craziness of Wednesday's game, when the Leafs hit a grand slam in the first inning. I kind of like the low-scoring games. We had one last Sunday with Claudio Custodio on the mound against Dylan Jacober. The Leafs won that game 4-3, and we have another one here today as of right now.
You don't like sitting in the commentary booth for 4 hours?
Listen, you know what? Wednesday, it didn't seem like 4 hours on Wednesday. I think maybe once the Leafs were trailing in the game at some point, but I thought the broadcast on Wednesday was excellent, Thomas. You didn't like my company for 4 hours?
I can put up with it.
Okay, I'll take that. I'll take that. Thankfully, we only play Wednesdays and Sundays. Some Wednesdays and every Sunday here at Christie Pitts.
Mainprize looks in. Here's the pitch to Connor Lewis. In the dirt. He'll head down to first base. There goes Aiden McCaskey to third. He'll move up. There's a throw down to first. Was it a strikeout?
He called Lewis a strikeout. Lewis thought it was ball 4, so Lewis is out. He'd easily made it to first base if he just ran.
Was it a called strike?
It was a called strike that he swung.
So now 2 away, and the batter is Dan Mara.
And to me, if you're Lewis in that spot, there's no point trying to sell it as if you didn't break the play because, you're going to be safe at first base anyway, given how far back the ball was and behind the plate. So a tough one for Lewis. You got to run to first base, and it could have been runners on first and third for the Maple Leafs and only 1 out.
Now, Ryan, it has been great having you on the broadcast, though. I will say, as this pitch is in there for a strike, I will say it's a lot. I think it's a lot nicer viewing experience as well to have more than just one perspective on the game. And with all the equipment set up, and we've been trying to upgrade the broadcast this year for the Maple Leafs, it's good to have a bank of knowledge to my side. As here's the pitch hammered out there to right field, diving and making an incredible catch out there is Lane Renault. Or no, he dropped it, or did he?
He did catch it.
He did catch it.
At least Dan Mora didn't think so.
And that's an unbelievable play to save a run. That was an all-out dive. And that keeps the game from being 2-0. It remains 1-0 Toronto Maple Leafs from Thomas West and Ryan Eakin here. It's Toronto Maple Leafs baseball on YouTube.